This is the GOOG monthly access content for October 2024. In the new format for these monthly access versions, we're going to go over the timing of the highest highs, the lowest lows, and give you the best trades, truncated down to that stuff specifically to help make it more efficient. The best way to utilize this information is to use these 1 months as expectation guidelines and keep an eye out for these live Discord trade alerts and chart updates, because that is the most effective way to utilize this information, my friends. With that said, good luck. Let's get into it. So as far as the highest highs are concerned, my sense is that we have a highest high here on Monday the 7th, and then we revisit it on Friday the 11th. We may very well come back to highs here on the 25th. And if that is the case, that we do come back to highs here on the 25th or the 28th, I would say that there's an even higher price level here on the 31st. Either way, on the 1 year reading, we have possibility of a multi-year high here taking place in October. But my sense is based on the fact that we don't have a cross-reading congruency for either the Swiftness card or the Sun card in the October reading, chances are that it's going to be like November when we see that multi-year high, is my sense. As far as the lowest lows for the month, strongest possibility is here on the 14th. I am getting a sense that we may be revisiting lows here on the 22nd, 23rd, and the 24th. A little bit hard to determine exactly where they are, but there's a trough here, most likely on the 1st or the 2nd. That might act as the lowest low thus far, but this is most likely where it is here on the 14th, and then secondarily here on the 26th, 23rd, 24th. Probably the 24th is my sense. And remember, those highs and those lows are within close time proximity to each other. We're going to use that information to inform ourselves when we're making these trades. So there's going to be some price swinging in the first week. If we do have a lowest low thus far take place around the cusp of the first second, I would say that might be a good entry point. Probably not. I wouldn't trade the first week. I wouldn't trade the first week, for even though there's some trade correlations there. I wouldn't trade the first week. The first trade would be when we have those multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance taking place on Monday the 7th. You want to open up a short position. You will be able to close that short position most likely on the 10th. If not the 10th, then there's a strong backup possibility on the 14th, 15th. But you want to go for the 10th. Don't never wait. Rule of thumb, never wait for the last opportunity. Always go for the first, take the profit, and reposition yourself. Waiting for the max gain or trying to get the max gain every time is scarcity mentality, and I explained that in some other video somewhere. I'm not going to explain it here, but just don't do that. All right, so then the next trade is going to be on the 10th in the midst of a decline. Well, first off, you're probably going to be tempted to chase a decline within a period of volatility on the 9th there. Do not chase that decline. That might be a good place to open up a partial long position for a multi-day swing into the 11th, but you want to complete that long position in the midst of any decline taking place on the 10th. On a one-day chart, there should be a decline that increases with momentum moving forward in time, and then a notable reversal before a big move to the upside. So look for that decline on a one-day chart increasing with momentum moving forward in time. That's where you want to get into the long position, and keep an eye out for Discord alerts at that time. We're looking to close that long position most likely on the 11th. We're going to revisit the resistance that we saw multiple failed attempts to break through as a high here on the 7th. If for some reason we're higher after the 7th, then I would say that we're going to have our highest high here on the 11th, but I think it's probably the same high as here on the 7th. Either way, you want to close that long position when we revisit the price range of the resistance that we had multiple failed attempts to break through on the 7th there, right? So that would be your exit, and if we're wrong about that or you miss that opportunity, there's a strong possibility you'll be able to close out of that long position on the 15th in the midst of a rally early in the day. If you miss that opportunity, there's another sharp drop. Don't be scared out. We likely have an opportunity to close out of that long position on the 17th. If you get stuck in the long position and there isn't a good exit, no worries, guys. At the worst, there's a strong possibility of a multi-year high in November. So at the worst, just hold on to it until then. But that would be another place you can probably exit on the 17th. And if not on the 17th, you could probably exit here on the 25th, 28th, somewhere around there. But I would not wait again for those final opportunities unless you have to, or if you're going for the November trade. It's probably a day trade on the 15th, where early in the day there should be a notable rally that'll turn over, creating a prominent peak, not a high, but a prominent peak on a 1 month scale. You could probably open up a long position on 14th and close the long position on the 15th, but it's not advised by the card, so I might avoid it. Probably could, but I'd probably avoid it. Anyhow, there's a day trade there most likely on the 15th in the midst of that rally early on in the day. You open up a short position, close that short position when you have a sharp drop at the very end of the day. And if I'm wrong about the very end of the day, then very likely it'll be the following day, overnight, or then the following day, you'd close out of it there. If on the 22nd or the 23rd, we do see a revisiting of a lowest low, or we see a lowest low or something like that, if it's a revisiting of a lowest low or lower, I would say that's a good entry into a long position for a multi-day swing. You want to close out of that long position. If you got a good opportunity on the 23rd, I would say do it there, but that might be your entry. It's hard to say. There's a lot of back and forth going on there. More likely, you're going to close the long position on the 25th or the 28th, probably the 28th. And again, I would only do that trade if we find ourselves revisiting a lowest low for the month on the 22nd or the 23rd. Otherwise, avoid. Yeah, and then this would be another exit for a long position here on the 31st after this big move to the upside on the 30th into the 31st. Early in the day probably would be another exit, or again, hold it into November. Look for the November reading, which will be coming out relatively soon in comparison to how long it took for October to come out. I needed a break. I was getting burned out but we're getting back on track. Probably by the time you watch this video, we'll be back on track, meaning that the November readings will come out in early October. And so you'll be able to see if you want to hold it until November by that point. That's Google, or Alphabet, I should say, for October 2024. The best trades, the highs and the lows. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Thank you for your support as a paying subscriber. Much love and appreciation to you, and much love and blessings go out to all my angel investors. I will see you guys on the next one. Later.